World War III watch. It's time. It's going. It's happening. Let's just face it. It's already started. I'm here with co-host today, Craig Pasa Jardula. We're going to get into some Russia, Ukraine, Trump, all the happenings in the last, I would say in the last 72 hours. It's been pretty hectic here, but RT put this out. I guess this is official. The U.S. is to sell $10 billion in weapons to NATO, according to Axios, and all of it is ultimately bound for Ukraine. Reported to be the first wave. Wow, this is just the first wave of arms, including missiles, air defense, and artillery. And you know what? The thing about this, Craig, is that we're seeing a lot of people on the MAGA side that are cheering about this, saying this is the art of the deal. This is what it's about, is you send the bill to Europe and you get the weapons to where they need to go, completely ditching the entire narrative of the campaign and the people that were with us way back at Rage Against the War Machine, the first one, the real one we thought. They don't care about any of that anymore. That doesn't really matter. All that matters is that at least we're not, at least it's not Joe Biden doing bad deals as he's murdering people and using Ukrainians for cannon fodder, and that they're, down to the last Ukrainian, as Lindsey Graham says. But now at least we're getting some sort of, we're putting the bill over to Europe, and we don't have to actually foot the bill. So that's a win. No, this is not a win at all.
Let's break this down, because I think it's the most important thing. We're talking about what's going on. Do you believe what's happening in front of you is actually by chance? Does Donald Trump have choice? Or is this just kabuki theater and we're just watching a somewhat scripted event in front of us, getting us in the population to believe that we actually live in a democracy and there are choices and, the red team's better than the blue team and whatnot? I think it's really important we analyze that. But, it's funny because today on the show, I was on, like I said, Crosstalk, and we talked about this whole situation. And it was a great show and it was a fun show. But you went right jumping in for the most important point, because I think it's important, because it says more about the voters and the people out there than the candidate himself. What will we hear more times? What will be the excuses from Trump? Will we hear him say again, it's not my war, it's Biden's war. Biden's war, and I'm just trying to get it out. Will we hear that more? Or will we hear Putin is crazy? We talk on the phone, we have a great conversation, and I said, that's good. And then the next night, missiles are going into Kiev. Even Melania said something about it. I mean, will we hear that? Or will we hear what you just talked about? Because I think that politically, PR-wise, the best choice that he can make right now and do what he always does when he talks about the good shit, leaves all the bad shit out, is the fact that it's no longer on the U.S. taxpayer's shoulder, right? Which shows really, truly if people are still supporting him, what they really are. They're not pro-peace. They're pro-empire. They've been duped and propagandized to think that is the only way, that is the only choice. And our pocketbook means more than our spreading of the death cult empire, which is just one thing to lead to the other. So I think you coming out there and saying that is very interesting, because it's the first thing that really came to mind. Listen, there are people who are going to still support Donald Trump. They were trying to, if you watch the show tomorrow, Colonel K said that, a lot of MAGA people are pissed off, and she can see them there. You can see like a faction going crazy. And I said, yeah, that might be true, but the majority of the Trumpers are going to stick with him no matter what. I mean, I saw somebody who had like 500,000 followers on Twitter. I forgot his name because he's not important. But he said, you could still be mad at the pedophiles and support Donald Trump too. I do. I mean, that is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Which leads you down the road to like every single fucking promise this guy has broken, right? You also said World War III is started yet. We just don't even know. I still don't think we're past the point of no return yet, though. I don't think we've hit that kind of precipice where things are going to get really out of hand. But it seems with Donald Trump's, once again, Putin is crazy. He's setting up the rhetoric for this to go a long way and go hard, right? And everybody's taking sides now. And anybody bricks, they're going to push. Go ahead.
Here's his new stand on Putin, which is
the rhetoric.
You probably noticed if you haven't heard this one yet. This is a textbook pot calling the kettle black. Here we go.
Be announcing sanctions on Russia tomorrow. We're going to see what we will see tomorrow. Okay, we have the Secretary General. As you know, Europe has announced sanctions. But I am very disappointed with President Putin. You know, I thought he was somebody that meant what he said, and he'll talk so beautifully, and then he'll bomb people at night. We don't like that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Setting the table for endless war in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? That's why I started off the show today saying, oh, it wasn't a success by the United States. Oh, yes, it was. From the people who put that in play, the money that was spent, the money that was made. Forget about it. The defense industry made a crazy amount of dollars, Matt.
Yeah. And what he's saying about Putin is he's disappointed because he's engaging in military tactics while he's in the middle of negotiating. That's so strange, Craig. Where have I heard that? But where does that happen before? Let me think. Something about Iran negotiating with Iran. I don't know. It's fuzzy.
I know.
It's more than a day ago, so I don't remember anything because we only have a 24-hour attention span these days, so I can't place it. But it seems like I guess Putin's the bad guy now. So to me, what I'm seeing is Joe Biden, round 2 without the dementia, just with the more narcissism. It's the same. So what is the thing that by the way, what's the thing that everybody on the left is so afraid about? All the lefties with the Ukrainian flag in their socials that were scared to death of Putin taking over the world. And the last thing we needed was Trump going in there and ending this thing on day one. Why are you applauding this? Are you sharing this out? Are you excited? They don't seem to be making any commotion at all on that side of it. But I would say, hey, now it's time to put Trump in your social as well, because he's doing exactly the plan of the Democrats this entire time. So it's another indication that it's one big club, and they're all warmongers 100%.
Well, you want to talk about the Putin part, I think is important.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the Putin.
I really think that at the end of the day, that Trump doesn't have choice. He doesn't have the, it's not that he never desired or tried to want to pull out of the war. You know what I'm saying? He definitely did. But I don't know if he definitely did. I think he's just going along and playing the script and acting this guy. This guy his mentor was Roy Cohen. So, forget about it. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have the ability to do it. And I think that Putin was also realistic, realizing that he was never going to have a deal, that he was just going through the motions to, I don't want to say please, but uphold international law. So therefore they can't point the finger. It's a little bit different when Mark Sleboda came on the show and he talked about it. He goes, they'll never make a deal. This won't get settled. They'll just kind of eventually digress back to their corners where they're just going to blame the other guy. And that's what they're looking to do. And that's what Donald Trump is. He's looking for excuses and saying these things. Putin's bombing somebody. The Russian Federation and Vladimir Putin have never faltered one bit on their conditions on stopping this war, not one bit. And we knew it was never going to happen if you really understand the fact that, when Putin says, well, we need to reflect on why this war started in the first place, that's never going to happen.
No.
But also, too, let me just say this, too, as well, regardless, Donald Trump is no different than any other president. Yep. He still uses the same tactics, and that's sanction or bomb you. But if you can really piss us off, we'll sanction and bomb you. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is he's just using tariffs like sanctions, but he's trying to have it have the same effect. I'm punishing you for not going along, but it's the same thing. How many coups have we had? Whether it be nice talking Obama or country style George Bush, it's all the same. They're the same guy. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Donald Trump is nothing more than a jarhead, Matt, just another Republican.
Yeah. Well, let's hear Putin actually admits in this interview that his assessment has actually changed about the West and how he looks at the motives of the West. And he's admitting that he originally thought it was an ideological difference, but now it seems that he's identifying the problem with the West is not necessarily ideology, although that is still an issue. It's just flat out interest. So this is what he had this interview a couple days ago, and he spells this out very articulately, actually. Here it is. So many of your trips, remember the times when there are trips to European countries, Russia's constant desire to interact and build relationships. At what point did we realize that these so-called partners of ours were not really our partners? Well, this was clear from the very beginning of the 2000s. After all, we had illusions, and I did too, which consisted of the following, and many others I am sure at the time assumed that there were problems in relations between the Soviet Union and the so-called West, which were based on ideological differences. On the one hand, there was a communist regime, which many considered de facto tyranny, and in the other world, there was a democratic world led by the United States. And many believed, including me, that worked for so many years, almost 20 years, in the intelligence services of the Soviet Union, also believed that the main contradictions were of an ideological nature. But with the Soviet Union was no more there was no communist regime, but the disregard for the state strategic interests of the Russian Federation remained, not just a careless attitude. But all this was tied to a clear desire to achieve some kind of geopolitical advantage. Moreover, as I said, I had already become president. I didn't understand anything right away. And I started to tell my colleagues, look, you say this, but you do this, and here's the proof. And he provided this evidence. A certain yeah, but we put things in order now. And nothing and everything is exactly the opposite. It became obvious to me that ideology probably had some significance, but still at the root of all of these contradictions were geopolitical interests. So, yeah,
I think you should roll right into the one I got over there too, as well, because it does say a lot, you know. And in the beginning of the 2000s, I think that's when Putin and George Bush, they were getting along. I think they went fishing, and he goes, "Vladimir Putin's the only one who caught a fish." But you know, they were getting close, and I think that there were CIA or agents that were funding Chechnyan rebels, and Putin found out about it, and he took it to George Bush and Jr., and he couldn't do anything about it. It's in the Oliver Stone film and stuff. That's the reason right there. It's a geopolitical reason is what he's saying. Now he's talking about who's making these decisions in this particular video.
Okay, here we go.
I've already spoken to 3 U.S. presidents. They come and go, but politics stay the same all the time. Do you know why? Because of the powerful bureaucracy. When a person is elected, they may have some ideas. Then people with a briefcase arrive, well-dressed, wearing dark suits, just like mine, except for the red tie, since they wear black or dark blue. These people start explaining how things are done, and instantly everything changes. This is what happens with every administration. Changing things is not easy, and I say this without any irony. It's not that someone does not want to, but because it's a hard thing to do. Take Obama, a forward-thinking man, a liberal, a Democrat. Did he not pledge to shut down Guantanamo before his election?
Mm-hmm.
But he did not do it. No, he did not. And may I ask why? He did not. It's not that he didn't want to do it. He wanted to. I'm sure he did, but it did not work out. He sincerely wanted to do it, but did not succeed, since it turned out to be very complicated. This is not the main issue, however, even though it's important, since it is hard to fathom that people have been walking their chain who've been walking their chains for decades. Can you imagine France or Russia acting this way? That would have been a disaster. But it is possible in the United States and continues to this day. It refers to the questions on democracy, by the way. I refer to this example just to show them it is not as simple as it may seem. That said, I am cautiously optimistic, and I think that we can and should be able to reach agreements on key issues. That's being very courageous and positive.
Yeah.
Glass half full. Who are the guys who show up with the dark suits and the briefcases? That's the thing. There's a government within a government going on, you know what I'm saying? And he does believe there's some leeway there, you know, but all the important decisions are going to be made by men with suits, you know what I'm saying? No red tie, black tie, he says, because they're, you know, got to be inconspicuous. But it tells you we live in an oligarchist, maybe a globalist, you know, and it's crazy some of the people who are really buying into the left-right divide, you know. I can't wait till we get to it later. I mean, what Donald Trump said today about the whole Epstein thing was just, holy shit, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're talking about Obama. I have officially given Donald Trump a worse grade than President Obama. they're the same thing. They're the same guys working for the same people. But I'm saying that so the Trumpers can realize what the fuck is going on over here. You guys let you down.
He certainly has. And the black suits that we're talking about, he's talking about, are we know Obama had the same situation. Obviously, the email, we know, we've all seen the WikiLeaks email, the Citigroup email sending to him on day one. These are the people that are going to be in your cabinet, all bankers, all Citigroup, and they're going to be basically calling the game, calling the foreign policy. There you go.
One of the best things I heard this morning, Matt, is that Patrick Henningsen said that Trump acts tough with his all bravado, the WWE, but he's really weak. He's really weak because he can't get any. It looks like Lindsey Graham and Dick Blumenthal are the ones who got their way on Ukraine over anybody else. Like Lindsey Graham bullied Donald Trump into fucking, making them stay in this goddamn war. Wow.
You want to see Lindsey Graham?
Yeah, let's do the clip.
Okay, here we go.
Meeting with President Trump, who is considering fresh for Ukraine.
Yeah.
That would be the first time since he's taken office. What do you know about what is coming?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of the president, but I'm having dinner along with Senator Blumenthal and other senators with Secretary General Mark Rutte tomorrow night. A turning point regarding Russia invasion of Ukraine is coming. For months, President Trump has tried to entice Putin to the peace table. He's put tariffs against countries that allow fentanyl to come in our country, other bad behavior. He's left the door open regarding Russia. That door is about to close. Dick and I have got 85 co-sponsors of the United States Senate for congressional sanctions with a sledgehammer available to President Trump to go after Putin's economy and all those countries who prop up the Putin war machine. China, India, and Brazil buy oil and petroleum products and other goods from Russia. That's the money Putin uses is to prosecute the war. Mm-hmm. And this congressional package that we're looking at would give President Trump the ability to impose 500% tariff on any country that helps Russia and props up Putin's war machine. He can dial it up or down. He can go to 0 to 500. He has maximum flexibility, but we're going after the people who keep Putin in business and additional sanctions on Russia itself. This is truly a sledgehammer available to President Trump to end this war.
Wow. That doesn't sound like a sledgehammer to end the war. That seems like a sledgehammer to escalate the war. It's just nuts. I mean, they up is down, the left is right. And, I wish Lindsey Graham would grab a gun himself and go over there and fight. He's a disgusting human being. But he laid it out, everything that's going on. I mean, people have to understand this is not just sanctions. This is secondary sanctions. This is saying anybody, you're going after your allies now, right? And this is a way to really draw lines in the sand. That's what Donald Trump is here to do. I mean, this guy is a complete fucking failure. He's, Donald Trump is weak to let this guy and Dick Blumenthal dictate the policy. Those were the two cheerleaders for that war left in the Senate since John McCain also passed on. Senator Murphy was all for it. Elizabeth Warren was all for it. Most of these idiot Democrats were all for it.
Bernie Sanders was all for it. I mean, he should be standing there next to him when he does these updates and these little press moments because they're all on the same side, all of them. Yeah, and the press is no one's going to call him out on this. They're still going to try to find ways they can, jab at him for other things. Obviously, immigration's a big one, but they're going to let this one go. If you're going to let it go, you might as well like be honest and just tell us everybody agrees. We love this. We love you, Trump. He's doing exactly what the Democrats been doing the entire way, and the media pushing this, like you said, from the beginning with no second thought about it. So just be honest about it and say, hey, we all agree on this. Great job, dude.
They're going to use that loophole that now it's off the taxpayers' shoulders. Now they're going to pay for it themselves. We're going to expedite this stuff now to Germany. Now we can give them offensive weapons. You know what I'm saying? Peace president, my ass. We had our 49th strike of the year on Somalia. 49th airstrike of the year on Somalia. I mean, this guy is no peace president. This other stuff going around, other people aren't paying attention to it. And like I said, I feel like from the get-go, he never really tried to intend this war. And I feel like Putin also knew that he was never going to be realistic. The United States was never going to come to the table. No. This was just a about posturing for making sure you're staying up with international law, so then you can justifiably point the finger at the other guy. And like, you know, even Lindsey Graham talking about Russia, he talked about the B in Brazil, he talked about the India and I in BRICS, and the C in BRICS. You know what I'm saying? He talked about the BRIC nations, BRIC. You know, that's what it's all about.